figured I'd make a quick video to show you how to change a oil pressure sensor in a 2009, I think it goes back to 08, 07 GMC Acadias. My wife, we've had this vehicle since it was actually brand new. It's the first and only brand new vehicle we've ever owned. And we've got about 120,000 miles on it, and intermittently she's getting a low oil pressure warning on the dashboard. And from what I've been able to figure out online, most of the stuff says that it's due to a faulty oil pressure sensor. So I got on Rock Auto, ordered an AC Delco oil pressure sensor, and I'm gonna get it changed out here. It's a little bit of a bugger. You got to take the oil filter off. I was actually needing to do the oil change, so I figured this was a good time to do this pressure sensor as well. So I'll show you what I used to be able to reach where the sensor is, because the sensor is really tricky to reach, and I'll show you the extensions here and how I was able to figure out to get it to back out. All right, so here's my setup of what I used to get at this oil pressure sensor. I have an 1 1/16 inch deep well socket. You can get a sensor socket if you want. I just happen to have an 1 1/16, so it works just fine. Then I put a wobble extension, followed by maybe like a 1 inch extension with my wobble head 1/2 inch drive ratchet. So this is what I used. The long handle came in handy first getting it broken apart or broken loose, but once I got it broken loose, it probably would have been a little easier to use a little shorter handled 1/2 inch ratchet, which I'm probably going to do when I put the new one back in. But that's my setup, and that's what let me be able to reach into that sensor and get it loosened up and backed out. So okay, so I'll show you where the oil pressure sensor is located. If you're looking at the front of the engine here, I did take the plastic cover off just to have a little bit more elbow room. And I also removed the oil filter so we can get at where the pressure sensor is. So it's just to the left. I'm facing towards the front of the engine. You can see the oil dipstick there. It's a little bit of a tricky one to get the camera down in there, but I'm going to go ahead and kind of lower it down in there. We might get sideways here, but it's the only way I can hold on to the camera and show you. There's the oil filter where it goes, and then just to the left of it you can see that's where the oil pressure sensor is. And what you see there is what I've been able to figure out to use to reach and then be able to back that pressure sensor out. So it's just kind of a slow process. You got to work at it, and you only get maybe an 1/8 of a turn each time. I'm also using a longer wrench here, 1/2 inch drive wrench, but you just got to go at it nice and slow, and eventually you'll get it to come out. Now I'm going to try to hold the camera here, at least show you somewhat of how I was able to get this deep well socket onto the actual sensor. I have a treble light here, that shop light, whatever you want to call it, but it's really there's too many things going on here to be able to hold that treble light in place and show you how I did this. But there is a wire that runs right along where that sensor is. I don't know if you can see it. There's the sensor. I just started putting it in. There's a wire, and this is the new one I started putting in. It looks like they have some Loctite on the threads, but there's a wire that runs right along there. You're gonna have to push that socket pretty hard to get it past the wire and completely seated onto that sensor. But that's what you need to do to get that on there. I double, triple checked. You don't want to strip that out by only having the socket partially on there. So you definitely want to make sure you push that socket on there hard and get it seated before you start wrenching on it. Well, I hope you felt like this video was informative and it helped you out. If you did, if you wouldn't mind liking the video and subscribing to my channel, I'd really appreciate it. Have a great day.